the group as well. So
Yeah.
hopefully, if we've got anybody
streaming now.
Yep. We're streaming live.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Oh yes, so we are. Okay.
Excellent. So, the challenge, the Manifesting Madness, March Manifesting Madness Challenge.
That's right.
What did you both think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. There were some really good exercises in there.
Yeah, definitely loved it. Made me sit up and think, and made me think more about manifesting. And while we're talking about manifesting, I had a group of friends here the other day for the weekend. So all in all, there was 12 of us, right? And we walked to this amazing little chocolate shop in the village. And our village up the road here is the oldest village in the northwest. It's like full of thatched cottages and just miniature little cottages and houses that most of them obviously have been converted into shops. So this little coffee shop, you walk into the shop where they sell the chocolates, and then you go up this spiral staircase to the top floor. And you've got to remember, excuse me, that this was once somebody's house. So you go upstairs, and there are 14 seats, excuse me, upstairs. So I said to the girls, I said, listen, we are manifesting that upstairs is empty when we get up there. And it was.
Perfect.
We just walked straight in, and I said, I believe you've got 12 seats upstairs free. He said, we've got all 14 free. I said, great. Well, you won't have in a minute, and dragged them all in.
Oh,
brilliant.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
And they're going, wow. I mean, what are the chances?
Not somewhere like that, you know, because I'd probably usually get quite a few people in there.
And he said even because they have seating places outside, he said you can even, he said there's even enough seats for you all outside if you want to sit outside. And when we left, it was beautiful here. Well, it wouldn't have been as hot as where you are, Hilary. But when we left, outside was full. So, of course, we took up the whole of the upstairs. So it wasn't just a case of there was nobody at the shop. It was a case of, that's what you've asked for. There you go.
What you got. And you weren't specific, so you got both the outside and the inside.
Yes, yeah.
Depending on which one you fancied.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that can actually be the most difficult thing is being specific. And being really, really, really clear. And I think if you can't be, I think you need to step away. And
yeah, Abraham always says, if you're not aligned enough, go general.
Yeah.
And get off the subject completely.
Yeah, because I think you can wrap yourself up in knots. And I think there's also this kind of, we have this expectation that we must desire something. And what if we don't? If actually things are okay? You know, and you sort of sit there and think, no, there isn't actually anything I really want. And for some people, that's fantastic. Rejoice in that and be grateful for that. And you'll get more of what you've already got because you're so grateful for it. You don't have to desire something. You don't have to want to manifest anything. If your manifestation actually is, I want things to stay as they are, then that's what you focus on, because everything is so good. You're so grateful for where you are in that moment, and you want that moment to carry on. But I think sometimes we can kind of scrabble around for something just because we feel we should.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess if you are really happy with where you are, it is just, yeah, continue with that, continue to get the same income in, there's continue to get the same resources flowing, continue to get however that may be.
Whatever your life is now, that if you're perfectly happy with it and you can't think of anything else, then it's just, I want, you know, everything in my life that I've got right now to stay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, that has got to be surely the best position to manifest from.
When you're totally content with where you are, yeah, because you're not in the lack of, are you then?
But you're in constant you're in a constant vortex.
Yeah, yeah. Mm.
And you've got it, so there's no doubt.
There's
absolute belief and certainty, and it's, you know, you are acting as if, because it is. It's not, you're not even as if, it just is. I mean, I think it's probably reasonably rare. I think there's usually something some people desire, something big or something small. But wouldn't it actually be the best kind of manifestation to say, I want to be in a position where my desire is to stay exactly where I am?
But
I just think we'd have to be careful there. I think you have to be careful with, I want to be exactly where I am, because things are always changing and we can't stop that.
No, but if that's, you know, if that sentiment of where you are is what you want, then that's what you want. You know, if it's, you know, really happy in my job, I want to stay like that now. I don't want to change it at the moment. And if I'm really happy in my home and I'm really happy with this, in this current moment, I don't want to change anything. That's got to be
because you're not in the fear of things changing, are you?
Leaning into where you are.
Yeah.
I suppose that's where you've got to be careful. I suppose that's where you might have to be careful, is not to get into the fear of things changing, because then you might cling on to things too tightly, and that's when things can, because then you're looking at the lack.
But I mean, as I say, you know, going through the challenge and looking at issues around gratitude and alignment or congruence, I think if I was to pick out what I think are the most important aspects of manifesting, I mean, I've read books where they get you doing all kinds of rituals and scripting and writing something out 55 times and all the rest of it. But actually, you can do all of that and that's fine. But if you're not grateful, if you're not congruent and you don't really believe, you can do that until you're blue in the face and you're not actually going to manifest.
Yeah.
So specificity, congruence, belief, and gratitude. And as I say, you know, I think scripting your perfect day is it's a lovely thing to do. It is a lovely thing to do. But if you haven't worked on whether or not you truly believe you can achieve that, and sometimes you can script it and you're still coming from a position of lack because you're aware you don't have it.
Yeah, but aren't you, when you script it, aren't you looking as if you talk as if you've got it, as if you're already there?
Yeah, but it's the bit in your voice, in your head, that can still be saying, yeah, I don't know how you can get that. You know, and I think that can, but I think it's just working on your own belief system. You know, and it's that Wayne Dyer saying, I'm sure it's Wayne Dyer who says it, you will see it when you believe it.
Yeah.
And it's holding on to that can be a bit tricky, can't it?
Yeah. I like the Wayne Dyer bit, and it took me ages to get it, where he says you dress a skeleton up and you take it outside. But it's just a skeleton in a suit. It's not a person, it's not a human being, because there's no substance in it. And when you ask for something, if there's no substance in what you're asking for, because there's no belief. And Hillary, it took me ages to get it. Ages.
Yeah.
But when you listen to him, the way he says it, I'm telling it you now, the way I learned what he was talking about. You know, I'm thinking, get a skeleton and put it in a suit, and there's no substance. Well, of course, there's no substance. It's a skeleton. You know,
They're dressing it up, and it hasn't. Yeah, it's not your true beliefs. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's like the woman that walks down the road. You've heard that one. The woman that walks down the road and she falls in a hole. And the next day, and then as she's writing this out, this woman, and the next day she walks down the same road and she falls down the same hole. And the third day she walks down the road and she diverts round the hole. And the fourth day she takes a different road. That took me a while. That took me a while to get it. Because I'm thinking, well, why would you walk? Why would you walk? I take things literally. And that is seriously where I think I overthink things. Because I'm thinking, well, you wouldn't walk down the road and fall in the same hole. But we do, don't we?
All the time. We repeat patterns so beautifully.
Sorry?
All the time. We repeat patterns so beautifully all the time.
Yeah.
And so perfectly.
Yeah.
You know, because they're coming exactly from our subconscious.
And actually, and sometimes when you realize that what you've been manifesting, so I'll give you an example of just something I've just realized on this call, actually. So in our book that we're doing, in our other group, a couple of weeks ago, there was a quote that says, it's on my screensaver, so just bear with me a sec. All I need, I already have. I'm having that on my screensaver. I love that. That's just amazing. And so I know Rosa knows this story because I've just told her, but you don't know this story yet, Anita. I've just realised why. I managed to leave my handbag on the train on Saturday with my purse in. And I'm on the other side of the world. Oh God. And I've just realised why I've manifested that, because I already have everything I already need. I already have. And actually it's true, because my friends paid for everything for me. I will obviously pay her back when the situation. Nobody took any money out. I was convinced I was going to get it back. It's still not back. I might still get it back. But of course, and I do have everything I need. I don't have to have, it's not like I'm on my own traveling in a foreign country where nobody speaks. It's okay. It's a bit of a pain, but it's not that bad. And I've just realised that's why I manifested losing my purse.
But your passport wasn't in there, was it?
No. My driving licence was, which is a pain. But I am going to claim on the insurance, because that's why we have insurance, because there was cash in there as well. Absolutely. And it'll cost me to get my driving licence back. The bag was a borrowed bag, so I need to replace that. And and I was just saying to Rosa, it's interesting. They seem to want to know when I last went to the toilet, the insurance company.
Of course they do, because that could be the reason why it's gone missing.
Yeah, did you
and
go
then they can get out of it?
Yeah, did you go to the toilet when you were on the train?
They don't have toilets on the train here.
But you know what, the insurance company, they're about 100% profit. So what can we catch her out on, just to see if she's culpable for the bag going missing, or if she? Yeah,
I mean, yes, it was a mistake. I left it on the train, but clearly I didn't mean to. I'm covered for losses, but they want to know, how they want receipts for everything. Well, It's travel insurance. I'm on holiday. Why would I be carrying all my receipts for everything I've bought with me? So that's my job today, which I'm going to do, because actually, and they want to know how I've funded my time here since I've lost my bag. Well, I can't really see how that's relevant, actually, but
it's because what they're looking for actually is, are you pretending that you've lost your bag?
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that does make sense.
Because if you were on your own in a foreign country where you didn't speak the language and you've lost all of you wouldn't be able to fund anything.
Yeah. Or, yeah, you could get somebody to send you money, but you need a receipt that somebody sent you money.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ah, yeah, that does make sense now. Thank you for explaining that. That does make sense. Okay. That yeah.
If you appreciate that insurance companies are coming at it, everything from the perspective of your lying, and you're trying to fiddle your insurance, then you'll understand the rationale behind their questions.
And I do understand that obviously I need to prove that I've lost it, because and you can't prove it because, well, it's not here. You can't really prove that, can you?
So come visit me, it's not here. It don't work like
that does make sense. Yeah, that does make sense, actually. That yes, of course. And, you know, it does say, you know, can you send us receipts or explain why you haven't got them? Well, yes, of course I can explain why I haven't got them. And I can probably get a receipt for some of the things that were in there, because you can get everything online these days. And actually, it's all going to be okay, because I've got a new card going home. It's not the card that was in the purse, but I can use that here without fees. And then I've just ordered a new card. It's costing me £30 to get sent here, the replacement for the card that was in the purse. And I think, do you know what, just get it sent here, and then at least I can get cash out. And
exactly. You may need a letter from your friend to say that she is loaning you the money, just to
she sent me copies of her statement saying what we've spent, so that should be enough. But if not, she'll do that. So, but yes, of course, thank you, Anita. See that again? That's perfect, because now I understand why they're asking for it, which is brilliant. Yes, of course they think I'm lying. Yeah, and especially with a purse, because when it's got cash in it,
you can't prove how much cash you had in your purse.
Oh no, yeah, because they are asking for evidence of me taking out the money, which I can do. So that's.
But it's that point of, okay, so you took $50 out, and you say, well, I had $50 in my purse. They're still thinking, we don't know if you bought something for $49.99. They've got to take you, so you've got to build the trust in your responses.
Yeah.
So that because they read these things all the time. And they'll be able to say, no, this is actually, this is genuine, this is honest. And because they know by the language, by the way you've written it, and all the rest of it. So, but it's understanding why they're coming at you with those questions, and providing as much, and then they'll sort of build up on the balance of probabilities. Yes, she took out $50, and yes, there's $50 left in her purse. So here's the $50 back.
Yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, and I have got some receipts for stuff, and and it's just a pain, but it's not. It is a pain, but again, it isn't. It is showing me that it doesn't matter. It's like I'm with people I trust, and with people that trust me. It's okay. It's a pain, and I can get another card, because I can put the other card on my phone, and all I need is the 3 digits from the back. So my friend's gonna keep an eye out for that and send me the 3 digits when it gets
the
there.
Interesting thing is that you talk about sort of manifesting it, and yes, it wasn't ripped away from you. You weren't mugged. It wasn't stolen from you or anything. It's like your higher self is going, oh, we don't need that, so we'll get off the train. And we'll leave you behind.
Yes, and it's really interesting that I've been convinced it would turn up.
And I'm sure it will.
I think it probably will. But it will just take its time.
Yes, it's that line, isn't it? That quote. You used that the quote that you used from the David Cameron Candy book, but it is then that extra line of be careful.
Yes.
Make sure that you're quite clear, but that doesn't mean I want to leave things behind on the
Yes,
train.
to experience not having access to money. But it does just go to show that it's okay. Everything's okay. And I haven't really stressed about it, to be honest. Yesterday was a bit of a pain because I was like, yeah, I'm going to have to report it to the police now. And it was just a bit of a pain. Yeah. But, and there was a bit of a glitch on the system for the police. And I spoke to the police and she was really, really helpful. She was really lovely. So it's a new system. And so I put all the costs of everything that I had in the bag and the money and everything. And then it says, and you've reported a loss of nothing. Yeah, no, I haven't. Have you not added it up? And she said, it's honestly, she said, I said, what if I take a screenshot of the details? And she said, yeah, I'd do that. But I mean, it all says, so that's a glitch, and I'm going to have to put that in my report
all
as well.
Over the place. Yeah.
Yeah. And when we had a massive storm here yesterday, and it was like, all through the night, I thought the roof was going to blow off the house. It was so windy. It was just honestly so noisy and so windy. Yeah. So I didn't go out on my bike yesterday, which again makes me not be particularly aligned because that's just my meditation. And I didn't get to go out because I thought I'm going to get blown off my bike.
Yeah.
But then it just suddenly stopped. As suddenly as it started, it just went stop. But there were trees, there were limbs of trees down next door. Their tree had fallen onto the top of on their roof of their house. There's a lady down the road their tree had fallen onto her car.
My word!
Been in good old England.
Oh, it was so windy, and this was after the most beautiful day. Like it was just sunny and like perfect temperature, and then it's just like whoa. But it's just like it's just really interesting. And it's just the universe. Like you say, maybe I'll change that quote I'll adapt the quote and just have all I need. And extra things keep coming to me or something.
I have everything I need, but I wouldn't be adverse to a few nice things coming as well.
Yes, extras are nice.
Some little nice extras, that would be good.
No freebies all the time.
Absolutely. No, it's funny. It is that thing of, again, it's around specificity and really making sure that what you're being specific about, you're aligned with, and before you kind of put it out there, I always sort of think before I put anything out there, okay, so be careful what you wish for. So if you get it, is it really good? Or is this your conscious mind saying, I want that? Because your higher self will really only bring what is, if it's aligned, it will be something that's good for you. If it's not aligned, it's not 100% certain it's something. Sorry.
I mean, I don't. It's interesting because I'm not seeing this as a negative. It's a pain, but I'm thinking it's probably going to turn it out as it is a positive because it's all good. It just shows that things can be resolved, and it's not even a difficult lesson to learn. It's just one of those things. It's just a bit of a pain, and oh well. But I didn't. Interestingly, I didn't lose my travel card because they were like, "Oh, you need to buy a new travel card if you've lost that." No, that was in my pocket, so that was fine. And it took me an hour to realise I'd lost the bag because I was just cycling along and I saw somebody with a similar backpack, and I was like, "Oh, where's my backpack? Oh no, it's on the train." And I was then convinced that my purse was in my handbag until I got back here. So it was probably an hour and a half before I could cancel the card.
But you said
So
nothing else
clearly
spent on
nobody,
it.
that's why I was convinced I'd get it back, because clearly nobody stole it, because they would have gone and spent on it straight away, I would have thought.
As I say, you know, I think it probably will turn up. It will come back. It will just take its time coming to
Yeah.
you.
It'll
But I
most
think-
probably, it'll most probably come back when you're in England.
Well, it could even get back. You never know. It because my friend Carol said, she said you'll probably get it when you get back, because it's got your driving license in, and they'll be able to track you, and they'll send it to your home address in England.
Probably. They won't, unless they take it to a police station and it's the right police station and all the rest of it, they won't know where you are.
Oh no, they've got a database. So I filled in the form I had to do for lost
Yeah.
property. They've got a database, and they said they keep it for 42 days, and they will try and and I know exactly what's in it. And so, do you know the thing I'm most annoyed about is my water bottle. Because I drink so much water, now I've only got one water bottle and I can't drink lots of water. Well, I can. I usually keep one in the fridge and one out.
Yeah.
So I might have to go and get myself another one, treat myself when I get my new card.
Yes,
You will.
get an
I
Australian
think
one.
it is that, in a sense, it's kind of that environmental check, isn't it? Because this hasn't been a problem for you or an issue for you, but it's like a little lesson, if you like, you know, and just being aware and having that checking your environment and thinking, okay. I always say that the best example of be careful what you wish for me, is Gordon Brown. Because he wanted to be prime minister, wanted to be so much, and he really held on to it, and then it all went wrong. You know, and you know, all the machinations, everything. It's like Boris Johnson, all the machinations they did behind the scenes and everything, and they wanted it, and they wanted it, and they wanted it, and they wanted it, and it all went wrong. And it wasn't quite what it was, you know. And I think you can, because the universe doesn't judge, because it doesn't have an agenda. It's like, okay, you want it, there you go. But in a sense, it's almost like it does judge and punish you a bit, because if you've done things that aren't necessarily very nice, there is a lifetime karma in your lifetime, consequences or actions and consequences. And I think it's like, okay, so you did all of that to get there. Well, now this karma is going to come and slap you on the face for doing that.
I think that's more you, I think that's more a personal thing, because if you don't feel you've done anything wrong, you'll get perfect things. And actually, if you think, I shouldn't have done that thing, then that's when it seems like karma. But I think it's more.
I think karma is a universal law.
No, I don't. I don't think the universe does judge at all.
No, I think there is a karmic law. I think if you do something wrong, and you're unrepentant about it, then
it depends. The thing is, the thing with that is, whose eyes is it wrong in?
Well, if you harm somebody else in your pursuit of what you want, then it's in, it is an immutable law in the universe that you don't pursue what you want, and in the process harm other people. That's just, that's kind of a no-no, isn't it, really?
Well, if you asked Abraham Hicks that, they would say that you can do no wrong. Nothing is wrong.
And so I don't agree there, because there is wrong. There is wrong. Can you say then that murder is not wrong?
If somebody's going to murder you and you murder somebody, I would say that is not wrong if you're self-defense or they're going to murder your family.
But if somebody is in the pursuit of something, and in so doing they murder somebody, is that not wrong? Taking a life is wrong.
But I'm just I guess I'm just I'm kind of playing devil's advocate here and just quoting, because Abrahamic say you can do nothing wrong. It is only your perception of it or somebody else's perception. And I guess when you start saying that that's wrong and that's wrong, where is the line where it becomes okay? And I guess that's why Abrahamic say you can do nothing wrong. It's only your perception of it that might be wrong. And that's what will stop you.
Isn't that when the saying, you reap what you sow? So therefore, if you sow nastiness, you get nastiness back. So and I've always been of the belief that if I do wrong by somebody, and when I mean wrong, I mean really wrong. If I do something horrible, knowing I'm doing something horrible to somebody, then that person most probably will never be able to like get me back. But somewhere in my life, somebody will come and stub out whatever I was looking for, going for. Because that was
absolutely. And that's your perception of it being wrong, and therefore that's your moral compass, if you like. And because I know I've listened to that talk that Abraham gave on the Holocaust and stuff, the guy with the red hat.
Oh yes, yeah.
Really powerful talk, because it talks about collective consciousness and how and he gets quite emotional, quite understandably emotional, and that was wrong, and they really, it's a really powerful discussion.
But you're also saying that it was not his responsibility.
Yeah.
Have all them emotions and get so angry with the way things were going, because it was nothing to do with him, as in what happened was nothing to do with him. What is going to happen is nothing to do with him, and what should have happened is nothing to do with him. And I think that is also what they were trying to get over, weren't they?
Yeah. And it's because you damage yourself by being so emotionally upset, understandably. But because when you start saying, well, there are things that are wrong and there aren't things that are wrong, where do you draw the line? Well, that's okay, but that's not. And I kind of understand what they're saying, and I agree with you, Anita, absolutely, that I think that hurting somebody else on the way to your greatness is totally wrong. But yeah, I also understand what they're saying. It's quite deep.
Is it that like old Brownie and Boris? Is it if they stood on other people's toes? Is it maybe that the job was never meant to be theirs, so they made sure the job was going to be theirs, but when it actually became theirs, because that's what they chose. Whereas if they'd stepped back and let it happen, so is it a case of that's not for you, but because you're persistent, you can have it, and we'll just prove to you that the job was never meant to be for you. Not a case of what you did, how many people you stepped on to get where you were. You are going to pay the price. I mean, I don't know. I'm just putting this into the mix. Could it be that it's a case of, right, okay, you're not going to give in, you can have it. It's like a kid wanting an extra sweet. You can't have it because it make you feel sick. You can't have it. Oh, I'll have it and feel sick. And then I feel sick now. Do you know what I mean? So is that the same?
It's the same premise of actions have consequences.
Yeah.
Your actions have consequences.
It's also the collective consciousness as well, though, isn't it? Because without the collective consciousness, they wouldn't have got to where they were either. Like the things that are going on in the US at the moment, because randomly, because the person I'm staying with watches the news. I never watch the news. It's really weird because Trump is on his high horse again, isn't he? Saying that he's telling people to protest because he's going to be indicted today. He's predicted it, and he's going to be indicted, but he wants people to protest. So he's enticing
Inciting violence again.
Violence, absolutely. But there is that collective consciousness, because there are so many people who support him, and they are the people who will go in and will riot and will. But then also there's this other collective consciousness that is allowing that to happen, and it's when it all comes together and it all aligns. Whereas actually, if we could all be just like kind and nice and it was all wonderful, the world would be an amazing place. And it is an amazing place. But yeah, like they were saying to that guy, that it wasn't just Hitler that created that war, it was the collective consciousness at the time.
Yeah.
Whose collective consciousness?
Everybody's. Because without everybody's collective consciousness, it wouldn't have happened. That's what an Abraham say.
So by everyone, do they mean the whole world?
Anybody
Because
involved in it, I guess.
A lot of the actions of, say, the British government and the American government and everything absolutely belies that to be a truth. Because the scarring of the First World War was such that people were actively trying to prevent another war because of they didn't want to repeat the horrors of the First World War. So the collective consciousness was actually resisting.
Well, there you go.
Actually not wanting to participate in that war. Absolutely,
but what we resist persists, and when we push against something, we attract it to us.
I don't know if I follow that on that scale, if I'm honest. I think it's the historian in me coming out that says, so the collective consciousness allowed the Holocaust, even though they had no idea it was happening.
Well, the people within it knew it was happening.
Yeah, but people without it didn't. So where does the collective consciousness start and stop?
Well, it doesn't.
You see what I mean?
It is continual. It's like it's like the ocean.
Yeah, the collective consciousness outside of the people in the immediate environs of the camps, for example, and the German government themselves, until 1942, when somebody actually escaped a camp and told people what was happening. Until that point, nobody had any clue that was happening. So where's their collective consciousness? Because they don't know it's happening. So they can't either be resisting or allowing because they are unaware. So how does the collective consciousness come into it when it's unaware? So there's almost like
that would have to be a question I'd have to ask Abraham. I wouldn't have the answers to that, but I'm just kind of, they have said it was, and actually, well, I completely understand that, but when we resist something, when we push against something, we get more of it. I know I do it. And if you've got like the whole world pushing against the war because they don't want war, quite understandably,
well, no, I mean the horrors of the First World War.
But isn't that the problem?
No one could afford it.
Is the pushing against war? They're not pushing for peace. So if you're pushing against war, you're bringing more of war into. It's like saying
they were pushing for peace. They were pushing for peace.
Yeah, but it's like ban the bomb and it's the wording, isn't it? Again, we go back to the wording that you use. So if you've got on your things, I'm here for peace, I'm praying for peace, or whatever, Pete's just shouting peace, then that's all that is heard. But the minute you say stop the war or stop the bombing, that's what's heard. It's like saying, isn't it, I've no money, or I don't want to be broke again. I've got £1 million, I don't want to be broke again. All they hear is broke.
Yeah, the universe doesn't hear the not.
Yeah,
no, I get that point. All I'm saying is about the Holocaust, if there's a lack of awareness,
yes, they don't know
happening, then they can't be part of the collective consciousness, because they're having no thoughts about it. Because when they were first made aware of it, the disbelief was such that they didn't act, because they could not believe that human beings could act in that way towards other human beings.
Another human being, yeah.
Gas chambers and everything, and what they did to their own people in the 1930s, the way they gassed children. That's how they started it. They gassed children who were had learned what we would call now learning difficulties, and who were physically disabled. They gassed them. That's how they started the gas chambers. That's how they perfected the technology. And nobody, even the Germans at that point, didn't know about that. The only where it started to come out was when there would be things like, oh, your child dies during an appendectomy. It's like, no, they hadn't their appendix out 2 years ago. You know, so couldn't have had another one, could they? And that's when they started to question it and everything. But that's how the Nazis perfected the gas chambers. And where's that collective consciousness then?
Well, ignore it. Yeah, but I don't know. But when I went to Auschwitz, it was the guy was really interesting, our guide, and I remember asking him how on earth he stayed positive, and he's like, it's a challenge. He said, the thing is, thank you for coming, because we really appreciate people coming, because this place, we need people to learn from it. Unfortunately, the world is not learning from it.
No.
And I think that was a really powerful message to me, because I think there are things going on now that we choose as a society to go, that doesn't happen. People wouldn't do that to other people,
but
they do.
But do you think that knowing what happened at Auschwitz makes it more, I mean, I would never want it denied. I want people to learn about the horrors of it. But in knowing, more people know now than knew pre-1939, say. So actually, the prevalence of it happening is increasing, because then it's in the collective consciousness. And if you're saying it can never happen again, what are we saying to the universe?
Yeah, no, I understand absolutely, but I think that what this guide was saying is the world hasn't learnt from, and I believe that actually, and I think there are things that go on even now, and I think
Yugoslavia.
But I do believe that there are things going on now that people, because they're not reported on the mainstream news, and because they're not reported, and people just don't, we wouldn't believe that there are things like that would continue. And I do think
they do. There's a war in Syria, there's a war in Yemen. We never hear about any of these things.
No,
we don't hear about it because it's old news, it's boring now. You know, we know in the Balkans War that they did to I think it was mostly Muslim, they did to the Muslim community what the Nazis did to the Jews. They separated the men and the boys from the women and the girls, and they put them into concentration camps essentially, and they starved them. So, you know, they have the blueprint. The world has the blueprint, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately, but I do. Yeah, and I don't know how the collective consciousness fits in there, but I do think it's part of it, because I think it's choosing to ignore those horrors that happen. Perhaps is.
But it's similar to what you said about the collective consciousness around the start of the war, the Second World War. Those people who are resisting and who are saying this can't happen again. The universe is hearing happen again. That's the premise. And so that collective consciousness is creating that. And as I say, having the blueprint now, you have one part of the collective consciousness that says it can't happen again, and the universe is hearing happen again. And you've got another part of the collective consciousness that's saying, we've got the blueprint, we know what to do.
Oh, and then you've got other people saying it wouldn't. Yeah, and then you've got another group of people saying it wouldn't happen again. Nobody would be that cruel.
But as part of the collective, because the universe is not hearing the negative.
Mhm.
So it's the same argument. If Abraham is using that argument of the collective consciousness around the start of World War II, then you've got to use the same argument for once you become aware of man's inhumanity to man, it enables more of it.
Yeah, well, of course it does.
So it's a collective consciousness creating it, with Pol Pot in Cambodia, Stalin, Mao in China, all of that. The blueprint exists. And so it has continued unabated since the end of World War II.
Or since way before that. People have been
think
horrible
it's
to each other
extent-
before.
But I think, mechanized murder on a national scale was a new one. In the Second World War, that was a new one. And we just, there was just an ability there to make something worse. And the irony of it all was Stalin was doing exactly the same thing to his own people during World War II. He just sent them to gulags. He didn't gas them, but he starved them to death, froze them to death. But that mechanization of national murder was new. Absolutely new. And sort of took, because it was the scale, because you can't kill that many people in 6 years without a very well thought through mechanized ability. And that's what we now know. And that is in the collective consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So by
Okay.
Abraham Hicks' argument, I think. So I think we're at 8 o'clock here.
Mhm.
I've got to get someone to bed.
That was a good discussion there, ladies.
It's very interesting. We went down the road that we perhaps wouldn't normally go down the road of, and that's interesting.
Absolutely.
But isn't to me that was a brilliant mastermind, because isn't that what masterminds are all about? Is about talking and discussing a point of people's beliefs without criticizing or ridiculing anybody, and that to
Absolutely.
me was a brilliant mastermind, because it gives you food for thought, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And it's about thinking. It's about opening, just hearing somebody else's point of view and going, oh, that's an interesting point of view. You don't have to agree. You don't have to disagree. You can just go, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. And I like sitting on the fence and listening to you two. I just think,
yeah, I just think it's really interesting. Really interesting.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I think if you've got a belief system around, if you believe in a certain religion, or you believe, in spirituality or whatever, there have been acts in the past that you've kind of got to reconcile that belief system with, haven't you?
Yeah.
And I think that whole sense of, as my mum would say, think things through to their logical conclusion. So you can't just say, well, that bit actually happening doesn't fit with my belief system, so I'll skip over that, or I'll go around it with like a different kind of belief system. You can't do that. You've got to take the rough with the smooth and the good with the bad.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that I think that's what is brilliant about when you two start really talking deep. It's just lovely to see, because just the way you explain everything, I just think it's lovely. Listening and being involved, but keeping my mouth shut, which is rare.
Well, you don't always keep it shut, Miss Rosa. You do interject a little bit.
Yeah, it's rare.
No, I do like a good debate every now and
Yes,
then.
absolutely. Me too.
Right, so Hills is the host,
So-
so she's going to have to close us
So yes,
down.
I'm going to stop the live stream. So live stream. So we won't see you this Thursday. Yeah, we will. Yeah, we are talking about what we're talking about this Thursday. Oh, Friday for me. Confusing.
Can't remember.
Oh, yeah, hang. Just a moment, I will tell you. I told you about how does the universe work? I think we've just done that, haven't we?
Oh, well, that's good because we can carry on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No, it was good.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
Okay, we'll
half
see
past
you.
7.
We'll
It's how
see
does
you
the
on
How does
on
the
Thursday.
Next Thursday. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.